Hey everyone, how's it going? Come on, let's hear it. Alright. My name is Ethan Robinette. I'm president of Youth for Ron Paul here at Mizzou. First of all, I just want to give a shout out to the University of Missouri's chapter of Youth for Ron Paul. These guys have worked really hard the past few months collecting signatures. We've collected over 1,400 signatures since January, and without them, this would not have happened. So, who are you guys here to see? I'm very honored to introduce today's guest. Everyone, please welcome Republican candidate Ron Paul.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. What a great day. I understand your weather's like this every single day of the year. That's wonderful. But it's a great day for liberty, and that's what really counts. And it's great to see such a nice turnout today. This is wonderful. But our problems aren't so wonderful. We have a lot of problems. Unfortunately, for your age group, you're inheriting a mess. Sometimes it's through direct taxation, and that's pretty obvious. If we had to pay our taxes on a monthly basis individually for all the government we get, this whole system would quit, because everybody would know, hey, we're not getting our money's worth. So they didn't do that. They get as much as they can, then they destroy the economy, and because of the weak economy, the revenues go down, so they have to have another source of revenue, and that's borrowing money, something Jefferson tried to prevent, but we borrowed to the hilt. You know, young people like you're inheriting a debt of $16 trillion. That's a small amount to be concerned about. Students now are graduating with a debt. The total debt for the student loans now is over $1 trillion. It's loaded down with debt. But even that's not enough to pay for big government. The appetite for this huge government to do things they shouldn't be doing. Where do they get the rest of the money? They print it. They print the money, and that is the source of so much trouble. It's the source of the business cycle. It's price fixing. It's fixing the value and the price of money. It distorts allocation of credit, and the credit allocation becomes dominated by members of Congress and what Congress does, but also secretly by the Federal Reserve. And they make plenty of mistakes. They created the crisis, and then they made it worse by giving the bailouts to the very people who were ripping us off from the bubble that they were involved in. Right now, I've been talking a lot about how your obligations are going to grow, because actually Europe's in a little worse shape than we are financially. But the whole world is in trouble financially because it's the biggest financial bubble in the history of the world. And it's all based on the fiat dollar. Because it's a dollar-denominated world currency, we were able to issue the currency. It's sort of like being able to issue the gold. So all the other currencies use the dollar as the base. And therefore, they have inflated in a distorted thing. And the typical example to understand that is what's happening in Greece. We're in the middle of that mess over there. And I've always said, and I continue to be convinced it's happening, that is, you will get the burden of bailing out Europe. And the reason they will be bailed out is because the establishments have too much at stake. It's the Goldman Sachs and the banks of the world and the big corporations, the military-industrial complex. They all have a lot at stake. So they got a lot of bailouts in 07 and 08 and 09, but a lot of it occurred in the open, but a lot occurred secretly. The Federal Reserve was involved with $15 trillion of churning of new credit when the crisis hit. Over half of it went to foreign central banks and foreign governments. They deserve nothing. That money should have been left here. It shouldn't have been inflation, because you're suffering from the consequence of the inflation. You're getting the burden, the middle class losing their jobs, the middle class are losing their houses, And this is the reason that we have to look into the monetary system, because it's through the Federal Reserve that the special interests get their protection. In 1913, of course, we had the introduction of the income tax. That guaranteed the ushering in of big government, and the income tax was supposed to be very small on a few rich people. Well, guess what? It's been here a long time. It's very complex. Nobody understands it. The economy is weak, and actually it's generating less revenues at this moment than they had hoped for. My suggestion is that philosophy is wrong, occupation of other countries is wrong, nation building is wrong, and we ought to just come home. Most important thing when we're dealing with these expenditures overseas is to distinguish between the Defense Department and defending our country versus military spending. We spend more money than everybody else put together. We have more weapons than everybody else put together. Who's going to invade us? Who's going to lob a bomb on us in the near future? Nobody's going to do that. It's going to be some other way. Our greatest threat today, worldwide and in this country, is a financial collapse. And that is the reason we have to understand that debt is bad. It's a debt system. The monetary system is based on debt. The whole entitlement system and foreign policy based on debt. So this is the reason. My suggestion is that in the very first year, to make that point, we ought to cut spending in real terms by $1 trillion. And this could be done. This could be done, of course, by changing our foreign policy. Why do we still have troops in Korea? Why do we have troops in Germany? That subsidizes their countries, not our country. Why are we in these endless wars? And the truth is, they're planning on more wars. And we can't even keep up with them. We don't know how many countries we're in, but I think we have about 900 bases in 138 countries around the world. And right now, the plan is they're just itching. The other candidates say, when are we going to go get into Syria? Why don't we start dropping bombs on Syria? When are we going to hit Iran? I mean, it's on and on. I'll tell you what, the Republicans are going to be in big trouble unless they come our way and decide they want a president who's more for peace than for war is what they need. Not only is it the correct moral position, not only is it the correct constitutional position, not only is it the correct economic position, it is the only position that we can have to bring peace to the world. This whole idea, and it makes political sense too. Yes, there's a lot of people in the Republican primary that give me a lot of grief saying, well, you're not willing to bomb these countries, you're not willing to invade these countries, why aren't you more militaristic? Of course, I'm the only one that served any time in the military.